Welcome to the Style Sports Hub, presented by UF Health Medical Group Orthopaedics.
Welcome to the Sports Hub podcast, sponsored by UF Health Medical Group Orthopaedics and our friends at Plaza Cadillac and Plaza Lincoln. And today, a new sponsor. We're excited about this. Warner Family Sports Foundation from right here in Leesburg. We're excited about having them on board with us because they're going to help us bring the best to you of great, amazing people that we want to hear about. And I've got one today. This is going to be an amazing conversation. I didn't just write this down. I have thought about this because we're not talking football. We're not talking baseball. We're not talking those traditional sports that everybody might tune in to listen to, okay? We're talking about something that is beyond my mind of thinking about how do you do this. We have with us someone who is from Lake County, a graduate of South Lake High School, and I just found out what year, which makes me feel old. But even more than that is to know that it's not here talking about any of the sports that we traditionally think about. It's talking about the IRONMAN competition. I have a new friend, Victoria Nelson from South Lake County, to be with us to talk about the IRONMAN competition. The first thing I want to say is, why not Iron Woman competition?
Why not Iron Woman? Well, they gave the name Iron Man, so I'm just gonna do it in the distance, and you know, it's the best of the best of the best, and I am why Iron Woman. You know, people actually say that all the time, like you're an Iron Woman.
Yeah.
Like no, Iron Man. It's okay.
Well, whatever it is, you're tough.
Yeah.
You have to be.
Yeah. No, you do.
Because as soon as you talked to me about online, we were talking about this, the first thing I did was, I need to go figure out what in the world you do for an Ironman competition to complete an Ironman competition. And the more I read about it, the harder it seemed. I mean, I was like, you got to be freaking kidding me. I mean, most of us, I'm going to be real honest with you. So I think about the running part, okay? So I have friends in Nashville, where I'm from, who have run marathons, either a half or a whole. And I was the guy who ran ahead with the bananas and the water, okay? Not the guy running, not the guy getting ready, none of that.
You're a lovely Sherpa.
Oh, is that what it is? Then I am. That's what I was. I was the guy who, here it is, take it, keep going, motivating you to keep going. Most people freak out at that.
We need you.
But you have so much more. You don't just run. Tell us a little bit about what are the three things you have to do, and the distance of each of those, if you could.
So I would say there's 5. And I say there's 5 because there is, you know, the food intake and the mental aspect of it that no matter what shape you're in couldn't be done unless those two are met. 2.4 mile swim, 112 mile bike, and a marathon for a run, so 26.2 miles. You really don't necessarily think about it or try and wrap your head around it because if you did, you probably wouldn't do it.
I can guarantee you I would not be doing that. If someone came to me and said, hey, we've got a sport we want you to enter. We want you to swim 2.4 miles. I think about me going to the ocean and getting my floaty with me and going out maybe 100 yards and going, can I get back to shore? You're doing this almost 2.5 miles of swimming alone.
Yeah.
Were you traditionally a great swimmer growing up?
I was definitely one that loved to play in the water, and I'm pretty sure my parents could never get me out of the water once I was in. But as like people would say swimmer, no, I was never a swimmer.
So not on the swim team.
I always did masters growing up. So I was the youngest master that was ever allowed. It's funny, I actually just talked to my coach last night she was like, if you were to ask me to be on the masters team, I would have told you no. But you went to the other coach and you asked her. And it was at the NTC locker room. And I said, will you coach me? And she was like, yeah, just come to practice. And what I learned from my coach, Misty, is, you know, when she said, I would have said no, she's like, I will just see how long she'll last. Because you know, nobody wants to get up at 6 a.m. every morning and come to practice. And
Totally agree with
let
that.
alone be in middle school and have to ask your parents to take you before school and then somehow get to school. And I did that for many, 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 many years, and my coaches never got rid of me.
Wow. You persevered.
I did.
So I want to go back to that. So you're from South Lake area.
Yep.
You went to South Lake High School. So what sports at South Lake High School did you participate in?
So what didn't I play?
Okay.
I was asked to play a bunch of stuff, but I would go to my coach because I did triathlons on like the back end, and I would say, okay, coach, can I do XYZ? So whether it was weightlifting or wrestling, I was asked to do all the sports. And we finally got in a little agreement of I did seasons of track and field. I tried jumping, and I realized you can't jump and then run. It was like run the mile, jump, and then run the 3,200. And I was like, okay, this isn't possible. Because once you start going up, it's hard to like even have anything to, endurance, distance to run around. So I was like, okay, coach, I don't think this is going to work. But I was that kid that if somebody couldn't run the 4x4 or somebody couldn't run the whatever, I'd be like, I'll do it. I don't know. These people are like running like magic around the track, but I'll try. Why not?
So I got to ask this question. Do you have brothers?
I have a brother.
Okay. Is he into sports too?
He did cycle with me growing up.
Okay.
But he is more of what I would call the smarts
Okay.
set of things.
So you're
He's a
like,
mechanical engineer.
oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. That's for another day for me. That's way above math grade for me. That's incredible. You're the tomboy. I'm going to do the sport. I'm going to take the challenge. I'm thinking back to my high school days. I knew a girl in our high school that Renee did that. She played on the basketball team, volleyball team, fast pitch softball. I mean, she did everything. And if she took the challenge, she'd take a guy on basketball. She didn't care. She just thought she could do it. So is that your mindset? I mean, are you in that mindset of, you know what, I'm going to do it. I'm going to step up.
Yes.
That's incredible. So cycling, for one, that's a whole other subject. Because when I moved to Florida, I wanted to get a bicycle. I lived down in Clermont.
Yeah.
So bike paths are everywhere.
Yep.
And I thought, coming from Nashville, I'm going to be this guy who gets in shape, be the Florida guy, ride a bike. Went and got a nice bike, and I rode it for about a half a mile, and my tail end was killing me, okay? And then everybody in Florida and Clermont area was saying, oh, no, you got to get gel pants. You got to get a cover for your seat. Went and got all that stuff.
That's hilarious.
Didn't help. Nothing helped. I gave it up. I would ride from my house, almost by South Lake High School is where I lived.
Yeah.
And I would ride it downtown Clermont.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, I'm going to ride my bike to go get an ice cream cone. That makes like sense, right? It's an incentive.
Yeah.
How do you get on a bike? And tell me if I'm wrong, 112 miles?
Yes. Yes.
100. I did this just so everybody knows this, okay? 112 miles. That'd be like you and me getting up from this podcast, going out front, getting on our bikes, leaving downtown Leesburg, and riding them to the middle of downtown Tampa.
That's why you don't think of it.
How in the world do you train for that many miles just on your derriere to keep going?
So you definitely don't think about the distance. You find somebody that, truly will push you through. Eric Brewer, which is one of my long-time coaches that I've always looked up to, and he pretty much has dedicated his time. God is so good because I don't know who would have ever done this, but he basically, I was able to turn to him to be like, okay, this is what my coach wants me to do for a bike ride this week. And he would be like, okay. And he would just say, okay. And my question to him would be like, well, what time do you want to start? So I am a female. It is very hard to get on the road at XYZ time. So I would see what time he would want to start. And then depending on how many miles or how many hours I had to be on the road, if he could only start at 5, but I had to be done by 7 and I had a whatever amount of ride time-wise, I would start, whether it was on the trainer on Z Swift, at 2 o'clock in the morning if I had to make sure that I was able to meet up with him at the certain time and then proceed through the bike ride.
You got to be kidding me.
No, I'm not.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so for me, I started, when I looked at all these different things you have to do in this thing, this Ironman.
Yeah.
I started thinking about as a kid growing up, because I'm old, I started thinking about that's what we did as kids. We go out and jump on our banana seat bike. Mom and Dad never saw us until those lights came on at night. That was my call to get home.
Yep.
I thought I did amazing, and I maybe went 2.5 miles. That's how far. I thought I did amazing. It's just incredible to hear you say you just don't think about it. You just get on the bike and you just go.
Yep.
I got to figure out, how do you get to a point? Do you do all 3 of these in the same day for the Ironman?
Training? No.
When you do the competition?
Yes. Same day for the competition, but training, you never get up to the distance. You might do like brick workouts, so like swim, run, swim, run, swim, run, or swim, bike, but you're not doing the full distance. Some races I got up to Kona, I got up to 12 miles on my run, and I'm like, okay, well, I have knee pain, so it's either push through and get like really injured to where I can't race, or just I changed to the elliptical, and I would do like 30-minute sessions on the elliptical rather than even running. And so I just got to race day, and I can go into that stuff at a later time, but I pulled off a marathon, and I was pretty much able to run into the last 7 miles.
Oh,
from like a 9-minute to 11-minute, 12-minute mile pace. And I could barely even pedal the bike.
I just like the fact that you just said something that made you human. You said, I was doing this for a certain amount of distance and my knees hurt. That made me feel a little bit better just now about myself, that you actually had to endure through pain.
Yep.
I want to hear more about the endurance and what it took to leave a high school, to change your mindset, that becomes a goal for you when we come back. So we're going to come right back after this break and hear more about how does a high school student take that kind of desire to a platform where she sits today with a medal hanging around her neck with an Ironman. We'll be right back.
Is pain or restricted range of motion keeping you on the sidelines? Get back in the game with expert orthopedic care from UF Health Medical Group Orthopaedics. UF Health Medical Group Orthopaedics provides robotic-assisted surgical joint repairs and replacements, post-operative care, and inpatient rehabilitation services, all close to home, right here in Lake and Sumter counties. And for those unexpected injuries, UF Health Medical Group Orthopaedics offers convenient walk-in and same-day appointments. To learn more or to schedule an appointment with one of their specialists, call 352-323-5665.
Well, we're back, and we are talking to Victoria Nelson about the Ironman competition. And man, just talking to you and hearing you tell me about biking and running and swimming, all of which in by themselves are a feat. Running a marathon is a feat. Biking, the distance you're talking about, 112 miles, that is beyond a feat. Swimming, what is it, 2.4 miles? I can't wrap my mind around this. I just got to help us understand, going to high school, you're an athlete, obviously. You're participating in high school athletics. Where in your mind did it kick in, it's going to be a goal of mine? Because didn't I read something about in middle school you had this concept in your head that you were going to do this? Mm-hmm. Where did that come from?
So I would say it started off with masters, and I really looked up to the professionals. So when I had asked my coach to coach me, she was like, you can do the masters swim team, and that is the morning practice. And I don't know the age of masters, but I was an 11-year-old or something around there going to this, practice that I guess didn't belong in because, she looked at me like, you're a child and you're with a bunch of older people that you shouldn't, So Can you repeat the question one more time?
Yeah, just where'd the mindset come from? Where do you, as a middle school student, say, I'm going to do an Ironman competition? Because I know this about you, but I think those who are watching and listening need to know something about you. You were into dance.
Yes.
You were the typical little girl doing dance and performing, cheerleading,
gymnastics.
the things we would typically categorize a girl into and saying, that's a girl thing.
Yes.
Daddy's happy that she's doing that. And then there was this time in your life, something switched.
Yeah.
And you said, I'm an athlete.
Yep.
I'm going to put the little shoes away,
Yep.
my tutu away, and I'm going to become an athlete.
Yeah.
What brought that?
I would say, so when the dance thing happened and I made that switch, a friend of mine named Kaylee Blazic, she had started cycling, and I'm pretty sure I just asked them, like, hey, can I come with you to this bike mechanic day, where the Police Athletic League was sponsoring all these kids to come out, and it was a free event that was pretty much to get kids off the street and teach them responsibility and all of these things. So we're learning how to clean our bike. We learned about drugs. We got to go to a jail. We went to sheriff camp. All of these things transpired in many, many years. And then a family joined that were triathletes, and it was a cycling group. But then the family that joins that were triathletes were like, well, the coach said, well, why don't we do this and this? And it was like, okay, some kids went cycling and some people did triathlons. And from there, it was like, okay, what is our next steps? Because the weekends I didn't do triathlons, I did the cycling races and vice versa. So I was constantly every weekend doing one race or the other. And as we got closer to getting better, the teams switched. So it went from like PAL to AAA Tri-Team to ORC, which is a cycling group, to Speed, which is the professional team my coach had made. And like, I mean, literally everybody that had poured into me, I looked up to. Yeah. So my coach was a police officer. So he was somebody I was like, ooh, and I was like afraid of drugs. I was afraid of drinking and, like, ooh, bad, like cops are scary. And then I have this relationship with this cop, and now I looked at him totally different.
He became a mentor.
He became a mentor. He became somebody that I highly respected, looked up to. I didn't want to ever, Tom Brown is his name, but I never wanted to disappoint him. Never.
Victoria, if everybody in our communities could hear you say that, and I hope they do. I hope you hear her saying someone was in front of you motivating you to do your best, and you did not want to let that person down, and identifying that person as a mentor just so happened to be a police officer, but it could be anybody.
Yep.
Who helped motivate you to say, I don't want to do drugs, I don't want to make a wrong decision, I want to stay on this path. I can't imagine if you didn't have that person in your life, would it have been more difficult?
I don't believe that I would have ever been where I am now.
Wow.
Ever.
That's powerful. I firmly believe that every person has a passion and purpose. I also believe that everybody needs somebody to achieve it.
Yes.
I just believe those things are true because I look back at my own life. I've had somebody. I could name people who kept me on the track where I'm at and kept motivating me, and said, don't quit. You got to stay in there. Here you are doing something that, I don't know what percentage of the American population, would do an Ironman competition. Just talking to you and hearing about some of the people that you were with in this thing. Tell us, I want everybody to hear this. Tell us the oldest person that you know who did the Ironman competition.
She is 80 years old. She completed Kona Ironman, and her time was 16 hours and 45 minutes, somewhere around there. And the cutoff is 17 hours, and she stumbled at the finish line, fell, picked herself back up, and continued to run into the finish line. 80 years old.
Did she look 80?
She did not look 80.
So this is a woman. Was that her? Do you know if that was her first one she'd ever done?
No, because you have to qualify in order to even get there.
Oh, my land.
So she had done multiple before because you have to qualify to get to
So
Kona.
80 years of age, that should tell any of us we're not too old.
No.
If we're sitting around, this time of year, we're in the Christmas season, so we're eating things we probably shouldn't eat. Last night, I did the little cookie walk, the cookie stroll
cool.
at Epcot.
Yeah.
Enjoyed every one of them.
Good.
I did not think about 114 miles of biking.
Good.
I just walked around the circle at Epcot and ate a cookie. That's
Good.
what I did. But it doesn't matter your age.
Nope.
It's a mindset.
It is.
It's something that you took as a young person and said, that's the goal.
Yep.
And this is what it's going to take to get the goal, the discipline.
Yes.
So were there days you felt like quitting?
Many.
You're human. I love that.
Lots. I would tell you, when it came down to completing Kona, everybody always asked, like, what is your best sport? And they're thinking swim, bike, run, and they're always thinking the fastest. And I was like, don't think that way, because the mental aspect is the biggest. Because if you can't understand, believe to achieve, you're never gonna get there. And so mentally, this one was the hardest one. And I am telling you, I woke up crying. I was on the pool deck crying. I was in the pool crying. And I literally looked at my coach. I'm like, I don't know why I'm crying. Am I depressed? Am I sad? Am I burnt out? But I knew that this race I had to get to. So no matter what, I will walk. I will just get to the start line and then see what happens. And I did it. And my coach pretty much looked at me and said, you don't have to come to practice and you can just show up on race day. I don't know what happened, but it released this pressure that I looked at the truck to leave practice, and I looked at the pool, and there was only 30 minutes left to practice, and I was still crying, and my coach was like, again, you don't have to be here. And I was just like, okay. And she had been coaching me since I was young. So that just released some pressure, but they believe in you. And I had asked my coach, she's like, I can't say that to every athlete.
I want to come back and talk more about this mental aspect, because I think people quit too soon.
Yes.
In many things.
Yes.
Not just doing an Ironman.
Yes.
I think there's so many things we quit at too soon because of the mental aspects that we think we're just going to make it easy and quit. So we're going to be right back, and we're going to hear about the mental aspects, how she got past the pain to get where she is today, a finisher. We'll be right back.
The Warner Family Sports Foundation is dedicated to fostering positive youth development and strengthening local unity in Central Florida. By increasing youth participation, removing financial barriers, and providing family resources, we can ensure youth have the opportunity to discover the joy of sports. Join us in building stronger communities through athletic engagement. It's our community. Let's do it together. Visit warnerfamilyfoundation.com to learn more.
Hey, so we're back with a completer of an Ironman competition, someone who set a goal, who's from here, right here in Lake County, Victoria Nelson, and the mental aspects, okay? So there are many, many, many things that people start and say, I'm going to do this. Most of us say that about a diet. I'm going to do the carnivore diet. I'm going to go to Weight Watcher. Yeah, keto. I'm going to do this. I even tried the carnivore diet because I love meat. I'm like, oh, that sounds great. I can eat steak. But then there comes this moment about 5 to 7 days in when you're on this diet or whatever the discipline is, whatever you're trying to accomplish, where your body and your mind don't line up too much. And you see a chocolate bar waiting in Publix, or you drive by that fast food restaurant that you're like, oh, I could handle that burrito right now. And you give up. There had to be that for you. How do you mentally get past the body hurting, because that has to hurt. You talked about your knees hurting.
Yep.
But just wanting to quit and saying, all right, it was a great goal. I'm going to go do something else. How did you get past that?
I think it's important to share your goals with people that believe in you and that knows you. So that accountability aspect. And when I say my coach asked me, okay, what is our goal? He formed his goal to encompass my goal so that he was completing something to help me achieve mine. So again, this stuff doesn't happen all the time. And I'm very fortunate, very blessed. God is so good that he did that for me. Because if it wasn't for him, Eric Brewer, I cannot say his name enough because he deserves all the praise.
Wow.
because I wouldn't have felt safe to ride out on the road for 6+ hours by myself. I wouldn't have felt okay mentally to do that. But he believed in me. And again, it comes back to, I never wanted to let him down, ever.
Wow.
I will be at practice early. Yep. I will ask him, what time do you want to go? Yep. And we started sometimes 3 o'clock in the morning, and we would ride Sugarloaf, Buck Hill, all of Lake County, all the way to Center Hill, all the way to Webster, all the way to Mount Dora, all the way to, you name it. You had to get 112 miles in.
Including the hills.
Including all the hills. Oh my God. And lights and potholes and everything. And, at those times, it's actually more scary because there's less people on the road, but there's also drunk drivers that are leaving their parties at that time.
Yeah.
So praying to God has, before, during, after, just thank goodness I got home safely. But it's really the people that pour into you that help me stay so structured and so disciplined, because just a vision board at my house that I looked at with a little tiny IRONMAN symbol, it's not necessarily enough, but it's there. And I remember when I was in high school and I was soccer, track, cross country, and my coach is like, no, you're going to go to college and then we'll talk about Ironman. And I looked at her and I'm like, okay. Went to college, Clemson, rowing. As soon as I got out, I'm like, okay, you ready for me? I am ready to do the Ironman. And so we started it was right off the bat. It was a half Ironman, full Ironman. I did Cozumel the first one, and then half Ironman. Full Ironman, I did Chattanooga the second one, qualified, and then last one was Kona. I was hoping to get Cozumel and then Kona, but that didn't happen that way. So I'm 3 Ironmans in, and people are like, are you gonna get a tattoo? And I'm like, I'm not defined by the tattoo.
Wow.
Who is Victoria? And my purpose and my identity is I am Christ. I want to embody everything that God wants us to be. And that is loving, caring, compassionate. And, I'm not perfect. I am human, and I have to, be forgiven and have conversations with people that I might have let down, or now I've understood perspectives, opinions, and, forgiveness and all of these things. But getting to Kona, my eyes were focused on Kona, and that's it. Wow. And it was whatever I had to do in that day, I just knew I just had to get to practice the next day.
You mentioned vision board. That's so important. People don't realize how instrumental. I work with high school students in the schools, and we make them create vision boards.
Good.
Because we want them to visualize where they're going, not necessarily where they are.
Yep.
Because we can sit where we are and have pity parties.
Yep.
And make excuses.
Yep.
About why I can't. You don't know my parents. You don't know where I live. You don't know my finances. You got past all of that.
Yep.
And you had laser vision. You had support. You had mentors. There was this mental aspect in you that said, I'm not going to let this person down.
Yep.
I'm going to finish. I'm thinking about a great movie for you.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you this.
Yeah.
Was there ever a point, we're talking about the mental aspects of this. I see it in a movie where you were watching you ride your bike at 3 o'clock in the morning, avoiding the potholes, going up the hill, when all of the weight of life is on top of you, the goal is still in mind, and all of a sudden maybe you wreck your bike or something happens, or you swim and you gulp a bunch of salt water and you're like, I'm done. And you're just laying there like a heap on the side of the road. There's always in those movies, there's this big dramatic moment where the athlete's either going to push through like Rocky, and go, I'm taking that guy on, or I'm going to quit. Was there a moment like that where you thought, oh my gosh, I'm at a tipping point. I think I'm going to quit. I'm not going to make it through this. Or I found the strength to get past it. I felt it. I was human. I felt like I was going to quit, but something got me past it. Was there ever a moment like that?
Yeah, it was right before Kona.
Really?
Right before Kona. About 2 weeks before, I dropped everything. My relationship, my job, where I was living, everything. My whole world, depending on the perspective and who looked at it, it was completely upside down. But to me, it was right side up, because I knew the only thing that mattered is getting to the start line. I didn't care how I had to get there. It was drop everything. I called my coach and I said, do you have a room? She's like, yeah, for who? And I was like, for me. When do you want to move in? I was like, tomorrow. And I hadn't even started packing for my race, nothing. I was like, I'm moving in. I grabbed all of my stuff. I moved in and I was like, I have to do this. I can't think of all of this other stuff. And I mean, I was doing a lot and I just dropped everything. And I was like, you know what? God is good. Forgiveness is even better. And those that do believe in me, see me, understand me, will forgive me. And some people will not. And I have to be able to live with, okay, is what I did right? Well, in some people's eyes, no.
Right.
In some other people's eyes, yes.
Yeah.
And the only thing that mattered to me is the race. And truly, the mental aspect. When I say I was crying when I woke up, when I got in the truck, when I got to practice, I didn't know if I was going to finish practice. I didn't know if I was going to even try hard. I just showed up. And that's the important part. Because if I didn't even get out of bed and I just sent my coach a text, I would feel ashamed. I would feel let down.
Yeah.
But if she saw me where I was, she was able to meet me where I was.
Yeah.
And her just giving me you don't have to be here.
Yeah.
You don't have to go to practice. And looking at the truck and then looking at myself being like, okay, I didn't come this far to just walk out. No, I'm going to try. And I remember my friend, I'm crying and I'm swimming and I'm swimming and I'm swimming. And it came down to like just finishing practice. And my coach said, frog on a lily pad, which means put the kickboard in between your legs and social kick, which is like tread water to and from, just talk. And I remember I'm crying. And my friend looks at me and she was like, I just wanted to share, my husband just got diagnosed with cancer yesterday.
Wow.
And her husband are in the pool and I look at her and I'm like, thank you for sharing that because none of my worries mean anything now.
Wow.
I still have my health. And instantly I just was like, God, thank you. And I pray over this family because their whole life has changed.
Absolutely.
In a blink of an eye.
Yeah. I'm just going to tell you this. You are an inspiration. You're a hope dealer. That's what I like to call people like you. You have overcome, and I would say that you are an overcomer. You are someone who, I know for me, you inspire me today in areas of my life that I might be treading water.
Yeah.
To say, I'm not going to quit. And there's probably people watching right now. I guarantee there are people watching who have felt that way. There's moms, there's dads, there's some young people who are watching, and they're thinking, I can't go on. You are truly an inspiration. I wish we had hours to talk about this.
Yes.
I want to say, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
I think it's awesome what you've done. I can't wait to work with you more and to see what platforms you get to get on to inspire young people and adults alike.
Yes.
To see change happen because you truly are an overcomer. You're an inspiration. I'm so glad you're from Lake County. We can call you our own.
Yes.
And it's going to be exciting to see what God does with you and the platforms he puts you on. So thank you for being here today with us.
Yeah.
And sharing your story.
Thank you for the opportunity.
I know you've been inspired. I'm going to get up and probably go walk at least a mile today just in honor of Victoria and really begin to think that nothing is impossible if you can get your mindset right, and you need somebody in your life to do that. So thanks for being with us today on the Sportshub podcast. I want to thank our sponsors again, UF Health Medical Group Orthopaedics, and our friends at Plaza Lincoln and Plaza Cadillac. And we don't want to forget our new sponsor. I'm so thrilled you guys are with us, Warner Family Sports Foundation, making all of this possible for you to be inspired, for you to set a goal, and for you to go make a difference just like Victoria has. So have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.
This has been the Style Sports Hub, presented by UF Health Medical Group Orthopaedics.